family. I'm trying to get my life together, make sure everything working the way it should be before we get this party started. So glad to have you back again. Hold on, let me. Boo, boo, boo. It's funny. Make sure I'm OG. I mean not OG, but Ali, I appreciate you trying to link. Facebook be wilding with the link. It's easier to. Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Again, we got some sound. Can y'all hear me? Can you smell? Okay. Alright. Well, you can hear me. Fantastic. Alright. Hey, what's up? Twitch. Y'all going doing numbers today? I appreciate you. Let me get one more. We working on that road to Twitch affiliate. I probably should got there and celebrated a little bit more, but appreciate you. If this is your first time here, it's Soul Swami Live, where we discuss all things healing. Tonight is book club, Thursday night book club, which is a spinoff of our Tuesday night show that is all about healing various topics. As a matter of fact, this week we are discussing identity. Well, the next couple of weeks we're discussing identity. But to Thursday night tonight, book club is a spinoff of that show in an effort for us to reconnect with the child in us by having someone read to us. You can generally catch us every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern on. Oh, my glass is dirty. I need something fishy. Okay, so like I was saying, you can catch us every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram be acting out, so it might be out the cipher in a second, and randomly on TikTok, but TikTok ban us every time. Generally, at the beginning of every show, we do some chakra work or some energy work, and this week we are on the sacral, which is below your belly button and covers your genitalia. Your sacral is good for, what is it? It's the energy point for that. It is your sexuality, your pleasure. It is the center of your emotions, your creativity, and it is the center for your relationship, how you navigate relationships. So we recognize how so many people are sacral thinkers. Liberty, Ali gave you a shout out. I talked to him. He was on Facebook the other day. What, Tuesday night show? Yeah, so he was on Facebook Tuesday. Oh shit. He was on Facebook. I ripped the leg off my darn drum. But he was on Facebook and he saw you on there. He was like, man, Liberty be goddamn. She be supporting. So he said, give you a shout out. So that's a shout out from Shaman God. And I tell you, he cut his locks too. I think I did. He had a whole ceremony. But this week, again, we are on the sacral. If you are into the element for the sacral is water. So water is good for cleansing that energy. If you are into color therapy, you want to think orange. Hence, the tinting of the light is a little orange. But you want to eat orange foods. You want to drink orange drinks. You want to wear orange clothes. You want to be mindful of the color. Or if you can, sit in some orange light. Light therapy is a fantastic thing. If you are into essential oils, you want to think rose. I just thought about it. I hadn't bought any flowers in a minute. You want to think rose, patchouli, orange, clary sage is pretty good. If you are into crystals and gemstones, you want to think tiger's eye, orange calcite, amber, citrine. That's what this big thing is here. I always say it when I be wanting to say it on the show, but my big rock of citrine. So that's what it looked like. I believe it's in the amethyst family, which is wild, which is interesting. But I got a ton of amethyst around here. Did I say tiger's eye, citrine, orange calcite? Bronzite is also good for your sacral. So next, we generally do some sound therapy. I got the bowl, so we always do the bowl, and then I brought out the drum for a little bit too. So we might have to do our thing with the drum, but right now, just relax and listen to the sound of the bowl. Hey, hey, listen. If that's the case, we gonna listen to her then. Tell her I got the drums for her tonight. So listen, okay. So y'all may not know, but I've been a teacher for a part of my life, and I taught children, right? And one of the main things, hey, about time you admitted it. It's in our blood, goddamn. Part-time haters. But one thing that we try to teach teachers is you can have a perfect lesson plan, but go with the vibe of the kids. If they not really in a space to be able to hear about dinosaurs, then don't just keep talking about dinosaurs. Do something different. Do whatever the energy says. So, a kid said they tired of the bowl. We gonna listen to her then. I'm tired of the bowl too. So we gonna do some drums instead. What she ask her? Do she like drums better? Jesus. Tell her I said thanks for her permission. It's time for a new drum or something, so I'll buy something else for the end of the year so I can write it off on this year's taxes. Um, I don't know. Well, I guess I do already got the heart, and this is stomach, even though it's purple. The frequency. Oh no, it is scratch. It's not stomach. It's crown. The bowl is stomach. Um, yeah, I don't have anything sacral. I do need something sacral. I actually was trying to get a sacral bowl and a heart bowl. So we'll see how it go. We might have to mess around and do a sacral. I wanted to do a different breathing exercise today, but it was supposed to be triangle breathing, but I don't feel like that's enough breath work. But if you got the baby watching, we'll do triangle breathing. Since my spirit said it first, and now it's like, nah, we don't want to do that shit. I got a hair bump growing over here. It's crazy. So how triangle breathing works is just like box breathing, but instead of 4, we use 3. So you breathe in for 3, you hold for 3, you breathe out for 3. Again, you breathe in for 3, you hold for 3, you breathe out for 3. But really, all you got to do is just focus on the breathing and listening to the sound of my voice. I will keep the count for you. So on the count of 3, family, we will start with triangle breathing. Again, it is you hold for 3. You breathe in for 3, you hold for 3, you release for 3. On 3, we'll start. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in 3, 2, 3. Hold 3, 2, 3. Release 3, 2, 3. Breathe in 3, 2, 3. Hold 3, 2, 3. Release 3. Breathe in 3, 2, 3. Hold 3, 2, 3. Release 3. Last time, family. Breathe in 3, 2, 3. Hold 3, 2, 3. Release 3, 2, 3. Now we're going to say some affirmations, but I would like you to just imagine yourself standing in the rain, and you feel the rain washing away the stress of the day, all your worries, all your concerns, and you feel as the water drips on your forehead and down your face to your shoulders and all over your body. You feel a calm. And as you visualize yourself standing in that rain, enjoying the cleansing properties, you feel your relationships getting stronger. You feel comfortable with your sexuality. You find a new power for your pleasure. You get in control over your emotions, and your relationships start strengthening as you stand in this rain. And as you stand in that rain, I want you to repeat these affirmations after me. I am a creative being. I deserve to enjoy life. I am emotionally balanced. I welcome sensuality into my life. I am worthy and lovable. I am a creative being. I deserve to enjoy life. I am emotionally balanced. I welcome sensuality into my life, and I am worthy and lovable. So it's funny. I'll tell you this too, Liberty. Your baby girl on the right track. Because I was thinking earlier, I want to do something else. I feel like a book club needs something else. It ain't even like you know, like Tuesday night show. We'll have some randomness, like somebody come on and get alive, and Tuesday leaves more space for participation, and Thursday night really doesn't. You know what I mean? And I know we've talked about having book discussions and things like that, and that sound cool. But I like that idea, but I feel like it will require me to have a guest every week, and that's work. That's okay, not necessarily work because I don't mind doing the work, but that's a lot of responsibility, and we learned that from the Tuesday night show when we tried to just do energy readings only. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. We have to think about it. If you get some ideas, Liberty, let me know. If you one of these people on Twitch or anybody. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, yeah, too. Congratulations on your dub. Welcome to the winner circle. Well, you about to have another win. Okay. As a matter of fact, all you gotta do is just play him that what is it? That magic playlist on Spotify. You hear me? And okay, so now I do gotta say this too, because you're gonna do it. Um, you know, do your thing. So I know you're gonna make a good choices of music. But the unfortunate thing about that is most of the time you gotta play radio hits. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think I'm gonna talk to her and say like, yo, yeah, go by how much you like the song, not necessarily by how much you know the song. You feel me? So I know you're gonna have some hits for them that they don't know nothing about. So where are we in the book? We are the motorcycle game tried to scare Ike. The random dude who hired the motorcycle game to find Tangerine told the motorcycle gang to chill out and just follow Ike. Ike gonna find Tangerine. And now I think Ike and Buddy Lee can't bust them. Are going to look for the music mogul, Mr. Get Down, or whatever his name is. Something like that. What discussion needs to be had? I don't know. Oh yeah. About the people they be voting on familiar music. It's like, man, y'all gotta do. That also helps me see why a lot of people feel the way they do about music. So their music taste pretty much is in the box of what's known. But like somebody said, some artist I was listening to, he was like, listen, for every type of music that you like, there's still artists still making that music. And the bad thing is people don't. I missed the time when we was lime wiring and stuff like that, because you'll download a Jay-Z CD and it'll be some random singing songs on that. So you'll learn new music. But I don't know. You be all right. You gonna kick butt anyway, so Congratulations. So we are on 25 in the book, chapter 25. Ike knew he was dreaming. It was a dream that danced at the corners of his remembrance. Isaiah is standing next to him in the backyard as Ike mans the grill. It's the cookout after Isaiah's graduation from college. Folks from both sides of Maya's and Ike family were there. Friends from Maya's job, a few friends Ike has made since he got out of prison, mostly other landscapers, a few suppliers, a couple of guys from the Y, no one from his old crew. The North River boys are in attendance. Isaiah is trying to talk to Ike, but Ike isn't listening because he knows what Isaiah is trying to say and he doesn't want to hear. He never wants to hear it. Derek is there in the dream, which is a memory in Technicolor. They are holding hands. Isaiah is saying that Derek isn't just his friend. He tells Ike that Derek is important to him. Ike is concentrating on the burgers and hot dogs. He focuses on that red glow of the coals, the unhurried dripping of the grease from the burgers as it falls and sizzles on the charcoal. Anything to keep his mind off of what his only son is saying. When he says it, Ike watches as he responds the only way he knows how to respond. No, that's not really true. He responds in a way that's easiest for him. He flips the grill. Coals fly everywhere like fiery confetti. A piece lands on Isaiah's arm, and it still leaves a light scar that resembles a birthmark. The scene fades to black. Then he hears a cavalcade of screams and turns to see Isaiah and Derek's head explode in a shower of blood and bone. Ike opens his eyes. Narrow beam of lights from the rising sun sliced through the slats on the blinds in the bedroom window. Ike sat up and touched his face with both hands. His cheeks were wet. Maya's side of the bed was empty. She must have gotten up in the night and gone to lie with Ariana. She said she did that from time to time now. From time to time, Ike had to fight the urge to be jealous of a 3-year-old. Ike swung his legs up out of bed until his feet hit the carpet. I think Ike's jealousy is a real thing that people could talk about. Especially when you go from it just being you and your mate, and then you add that child. Some priorities change, and generally a mate moves down on that priority list. Now, him behaving jealous, taking it out on the kid, all those things are bad ways to expose it, but him actually feeling it is a real feeling when you've lost prioritization, so which is wild. He grabbed his phone off the nightstand and checked the time. It was 10 minutes after 7. He had fallen asleep almost immediately after Buddy had dropped him off around 11, after the bar, after jacking that guy up against the wall. Isaiah would have a lot to say about that situation. You're just projecting your fears of your own masculinity, Dad. It's called overcompensating. He could almost hear Isaiah saying it with his telltale razor-sharp sarcasm. Ike stood. He didn't want to admit it, but Isaiah would have been right. When that guy touched him, all he could see were faces. "Stop it," Ike said out loud. His voice sounded hollow in the early morning stillness that filled the house. Ike grabbed his t-shirt off the floor and pulled it over his head. He was still wearing his jeans. He slipped down the stairs into the kitchen. He turned on the coffee maker. While it began to rattle and hum, he thought about what a nice guy Jeff had told him last night. Mr. Get Down, Tariq. He and Buddy Lee could just go and find his house with the flying buttress and try to bluff their way inside, but Ike didn't think that was going to work. Problem was, he couldn't think of anything else that would work either. The coffee maker was taking his own sweet time, so Ike decided to grab a paper. The sun peeked from behind the clouds as Ike searched for it. The retired grandmother, who was their paper carrier, had terrible aim. Ike rooted around the boxwood shrubs near his front door until he found the Saturday edition. When he straightened it, he saw Maya's car coming down the road. A banana yellow Caprice was following her. She turned into their short driveway and parked. The Caprice kept going down the road. Maya climbed out the car holding a big bag from Hardee's. Her mouth was set in a grim line that aged her by 10 years. She hurried towards the house, towards him. I went to get us some breakfast. I think that car followed me to Hardee's, then followed me back here. I think they followed me, she said. Her voice had a breathlessness that made his skin break out in goose flesh. Go inside, lock the door. Go upstairs with Ariana. Don't come down until I come to get you. Ike, what's going on? Go upstairs, boo, Ike said. Maya clutched the bag to her chest and hurried into the house. Ike went around to pick up the back of the house. He went into the shed, pushed past the heavy bag and grabbed something from a hook and headed back to the front of the house. The cul-de-sac they lived in was more like a side road. It didn't even end in a circle. The gravel-covered road just stopped half a mile past his house. In addition to Ike and Maya's story and a half house, Townbridge Lane had 5 more homes of various sizes. When he and Maya first moved here, it was considered the poor side of the county. Then some bright-eyed developer had placed cheap modular homes around them, spread some gravel on the dirt road, and rechristened it Townbridge Lane. Neighbors came and went with alarming frequency. They bought various levels of care for their front yards with them. Manicured lawns set a few feet from front yards full of children's toys and car parts. Ike crouched down, hiding among the shrubs. That Caprice was on its way to the dead end. They'd have to stop, turn around, and come back. Ike gripped the handle of the bush axe with both hands. The bush axe was an old-time honored farm tool. In the days before string trimmers and brush-cutting blades attachments, the bush axe was used to clear weeds and brush from difficult-to-access areas, like a ditch bank or a rolling slop hill. The tool consisted of a long, flat wooden handle and a wide, curved blade that came to a wicked point. It looked somewhat like a comma, except a comma wasn't double-edged and made out of steel. It was entirely possible that whoever had followed Maya to and from Hardee's was a lost traveler with a busted GPS on his or her phone, the kind that told you where you had arrived when you pulled into a cornfield. It was possible. It was possible that the Caprice was connected to what had happened at the shop yesterday. This is how y'all want to do it, right? Ike said in a low murmur. He heard the Caprice before he saw it. When he did see it, he recognized the driver. He was one of the guys that had accompanied the blonde Viking he had nearly decapitated. The car was going slow enough to be sightseeing. Ike exploded from behind the slug like he had been fired out of a rifle. He already was swinging the bush axe as he ran. It sliced through the air in a wicked arc before slamming into the driver's side windows and shattering it like a sheet of ice during the spring thaw. Fuck shit, Dom yelled. His foot slipped off the gas pedal as he tried to fold his body under the steering wheel. Cheddar reached for the .32 in his waistband, but it got hung up on the buckle of the seatbelt. The car continued to roll even though Ike reared back with the bush axe again. Drive, Cheddar roared. What the fuck you think I'm trying to do, Dom howled. Ike swung the axe again. It connected with the back window of the Caprice. There must have been an imperfect in the tempered glass because it swollen inward, showered Dom and Cheddar with razor-sharp shreds. Cheddar got his gun loose, but just as he did, Dom hit the gas. Cheddar was thrown backward and the gun went off. Dom and Cheddar both screamed as the sound of the gun filled the car. Dom felt the bullet whiz by his head and exit through the roof. He flew down the road, splitting the gravel from rear tires. Bits of glass covered him like chips of ice. Ike watched as the Caprice reached the end of the Townbridge Lane, doing 40 and turned right on the Town Bridge Road without even attempting to slow down. Randy Ayers, Ike's neighbors 2 houses down, came out onto his front steps. He was wearing a wife beater and lounge pants. Randy didn't work. He was collecting disability for a work-related injury that was 90% sure he was faking. Randy liked to decorate his yard with Confederate flags and "Don't Tread on Me" signs. He rallied against freeloading immigrants every chance he got. Ike didn't think he recognized the irony of crusading against freeloaders while collecting a disability check that he really didn't need. That's the irony of it. They do that all the time. "What the hell's going on out here?" Randy yelled. He had the self-assurance of most mediocre men. They told themselves that the world was their oyster, but never realized their oyster had turned rancid long time ago. "Nothing you need to worry about, Randy," Ike said. He started to walk back towards his house. "Now hold on a goddamn minute. You out here breaking some guy's window with that? What is that anyway?" he said, glancing at the bush axe. Randy shook his head like a bull and continued his righteous diatribe. "I got kids in here, Ike," Randy said. "You want to see them grow up? You'll go back in your fucking house," Ike said. He didn't wait for Randy to respond. By the time he reached his front door, Maya was already there waiting for him. Ike walked inside and closed and locked the door behind him. "Ike, what the hell's going on?" Maya asked. Her face was drawn. Ike leaned the bush axe against the coat rack near the front door. "You think you can take Ariana and stay with your sister for a few days?" Ike asked. Maya moved closer to him. Her hand hovered over his chest, but didn't land. "Ike, what's going on?" she asked again. Her tone was gentle but firm. Ike went into the kitchen and poured himself a cup of coffee. He came back into the living room, took a long sip. "You know how I told you me and Buddy Lee was handling that, what happened to Isaiah?" Ike said. "Yes," Maya said. "This is what handling it looks like. Call your sister and see if you can stay over there for a few, please," Ike said before taking another sip of coffee. Chapter 26. Buddy Lee. Buddy Lee turned into the trailer court and nearly had a heart attack. Parked in his short driveway was a gold Lexus. Standing next to the Lexus was his ex-wife. Buddy Lee parked his truck on the side of the gravel road that ran in a serpentine S through the trailer court. "Why the hell is she here?" Buddy Lee thought. Tremor started in his hand and worked its way up his arms. Flexing and unflexing his fingers helped slightly. He checked the rearview mirror. She was still standing by the Lexus. The breeze caught her hair and made a halo out of her hair around her head. Buddy Lee sucked at his teeth and got out of his truck. Christine took a few steps toward him. Buddy Lee leaned against the tailgate. They stood there like old gunslingers. Words were usually their weapons, and their aim was deadly. The breeze died down, and Christine's hair fell back to her shoulders. "I guess you're wondering why I'm here," she said. Buddy Lee flicked his tongue against the inside of his bottom lip. "The thought that crossed my mind, I figured the next time I see you would be on Judgment Day," he said. Christine tried to smile, but it fell far short of her eyes. "Thought you didn't believe in God." "I don't really, but who knows? Maybe I'll start going to church and hedge my bets," Buddy Lee said. Christine sniffed. The security lights in the trailer park blinked on, and Buddy Lee saw the wet shine around Christine's eye. "So what's up?" Buddy Lee said. "Can we go inside?" "I don't know. It's not the town and country style you used to," Buddy Lee said. "It's bigger than the first trailer we had," Christine said. That reference to their shared past knocked the breath out of him. After all these years, he thought she'd probably had those memories scrubbed out of her mind. Made herself believe those years together were bad dreams. They certainly felt like a dream to Buddy Lee. Hazy, half-remembered visions of a person in a time he occasionally didn't believe he'd ever been or had ever existed. "Okay, come on," Buddy Lee said. Christine followed him inside. He was sitting down on the couch when he realized he left his six-pack in the trunk. Christine sat in the recliner. "You want a beer?" "I could run back to the truck and get my six-pack," Buddy Lee said. "No, thank you. I was thinking about what you said. I know it appears I didn't care about Derek, but I did. There were nights I stayed up all night praying for him to change, praying to God that make me a better mother. If I was a better mother, he wouldn't have been like he was. I failed him. I failed him in so many ways, Christine said. Tears were running down her face. Hey, 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 you couldn't change Derek. Nobody could. You won't you won't by yourself in that. When I was around I tried too, but I'm off the mind nowadays. He didn't need to change. I mean, if he was still here, would it really matter to you who he was laying down with at night? Because it wouldn't matter one goddamn bit to me, Buddy Lee said. He felt his throat tighten. I I don't know. I mean, he was my son, our son, but what he was doing was wrong. I have to believe that because if I don't, then everything I did was a mistake. That's what a lot of people are. They don't want to change their mind because the guilt they would feel from all the wrong that they did under that wrong frame of thought. That's real. And that's why we're talking about identity too. Christine said. She put a fist on her mouth and moaned. It was a mistake, Christy. We both made a lot of mistakes with him. He wasn't abhorrent. He wasn't sacrilegious. He was just Derek. That should have been enough for both of us, Buddy Lee said. He said with a tenderness he didn't think himself capable of anymore. At least not with her. Gerald would disagree with you, Christine said. Buddy Lee grunted. I know this might be hard to believe, but that great Gerald Culpepper isn't always right, Buddy Lee said. Christine laughed. It was a harsh bark. Buddy Lee scratched his chin. What? You know, one thing I always liked about you, no matter what, you were real. There's no phoniness with you, Buddy Lee. What you see is what you get, even if what I got drove me crazy sometime, Christine said. Buddy Lee felt his face warming. If I could have faked it sometimes, maybe we would have made it, Buddy Lee said with a smile. Christine didn't give him one in return. I just left a party at my house where I'm fairly certain there's a woman my husband is screwing 2 times a month. It's the kind of party I used to dream about attending when I was a little girl. Fancy silverware, real plates, not styrofoam cup in sight. 2 live bands, the best food, the best liquor money could buy. Not that rot gut my daddy used to drink. She shifted in her chair. I was standing next to one of the richest men in Virginia while he told a nasty joke about why black men have such big dicks. As a black woman served me another glass of Prosecco. Gerald's dad laughed at that joke so hard he started choking. All the rich sons of bitches at my house to celebrate the great Gerald Culpepper announcing that he's going to give up his judgeship and run for governor. He says it because he wants to help people. Christine's voice began to quaver. And all I could think about was that none of these people here gave a damn about my son, my baby, laying in his grave, including me. So I left. I came to talk to the one person who knows how it feels. Even if we hated each other, we loved Derek, didn't we? Christine asked. Before Buddy Lee could answer, Christine began to howl. Great trumpeting cries that shook the trailer. She slipped out of the recliner and onto the floor, her white capris picking up brown smudges from Buddy Lee's carpet. If I hadn't abandoned him, maybe he'd still be alive. You were right. It's all my fault, Christine sobbed. Buddy Lee thought she sounded like an animal caught in a snare. It made his skin crawl. A part of him that still cared for her, hell, loved her, told him to go to her. It told him to put his arms around her and taking her scent and tell her that it wasn't true, that it wasn't her fault, that the only person responsible for what happened to their son was the bastard that pulled the trigger. He didn't move. Because the other part of him, the part that knew, the part that loved her, was a nostalgic fool. Believed she needed to feel this. She needed to have this pain touch her in places her money and status couldn't shield. She turned her back on her son. He'd been dismissive and cruel.
They both needed to own that shit. You didn't kill him, Christine, Buddy Lee finally said. Christine's cries were ebbing, the howls becoming fainter and fainter. She hugged her knees to her chin. Buddy Lee went to the kitchen and grabbed a couple of paper towels. He folded them and gave them to Christine. She wiped her eyes and her nose. Oh God, I'm just a mess, Buddy Lee. You know, he called me a couple of weeks before it happened. I ignored the call. I couldn't get into it with him about Gerald and his politics and the gay rights agenda. I just wanted I just didn't want to deal with all of that, she sighed. Huh? Who are we kidding? I never wanted to deal with it. I didn't know it would be the last time I'd get a chance to talk to him. Oh, Jesus, Christine said. Nobody ever knows the last time is going to be the last time until it's too late. You ain't alone in that. That's what makes living so damn terrible sometimes, Buddy Lee said. Christine looked up at him. Have the police been in touch with you? Have they made any progress at all? She asked. They've been in touch. Don't know how much progress they've been made, Buddy Lee said. Christine nodded. You know, I think about what I would do if I confronted them. The person who did it. I guess that'll never happen. They got my boy's blood on their hands and I'll never get to see them pay, Christine said. She began to wail again. Buddy Lee stood near her. He looked down and watched her as her body trembled and rocked. He watched as his hand eased towards her head. At the last moment, he pulled back and put it in his pocket. Instead, he plopped down beside her. Me and Ike, Derek's husband's daddy, we been kind of poking around this thing, Buddy Lee said. He didn't lean in close for her or put his arm around her. He simply said it while staring straight ahead. Poking around? What does that mean? Christine asked, sniffling. Buddy Lee nodded, trying to see if he can shake some shit loose. We're gonna be talking to this music fella soon. Gonna see if he knows where the girl is that might be able to tell us what started this shit, Buddy Lee said. Christine raised her head. That's all you're doing, right? Looking into it. You're not trying to hurt anybody, right? Buddy Lee shook his head. He was remarkably good at lying to her. Nah, all we doing is trying to get to the truth. I don't want anyone else to die, Christine said. They won't, Buddy Lee said. He thought, unless they the ones who killed the boys. I know you, buddy. That temper of yours, you've never been able to control it, Christine said. I never put my hands on you. Never. No, you didn't. But you broke my uncle's jaw. He called me a piece of white trash. Then he spit on me. What was I supposed to do? Give him a deep tissue massage and burn incense? Buddy Lee asked. Christine laughed. This one was different. It was like honey on his soul. You could always make me laugh. So when you going to talk to this, what did you call him? A music fella, Christine asked. Made you laugh, made you cry too. You and Derek, Buddy Lee said. He puffed up his cheeks and took a big, long breath. We're probably going to talk to him tomorrow. I think Ike needs a break today. We've been running kind of hard. Buddy Lee thought we've been running around breaking people's fingers and tipping over fake cakes. Then we ended up grinding a boy in a manure. Then we got in a fight at a gay club. Shit, Ike needed a break. Truth is, we both old and we both tired as hell. I need a break just as much as he does. He clucked his tongue against his teeth. Look, what I said the other day at the grave, I ain't mean it. Yeah, you did. One thing about you, Buddy Lee Jenkins, you ain't got no problem calling people out on their bullshit, Christine said, slipping into her Red Hill County accent. Now, it was Buddy Lee's turn to laugh. They let you use them kind of words up on Monument Avenue? Buddy Lee asked. Christine pushed herself up off the floor. She wiped off her backside, and Buddy Lee watched as her hands moved over her firm buttocks. I don't live on Monument Avenue. We moved out to King Williams 3 years ago. Garden Acres. We're pretty much by ourselves out there, so nobody cares what I say, Christine said. She wiped her eyes again before balling up the paper towel and putting it in her pocket. I guess I should get going, Christine said. Buddy Lee nodded. Why'd you really come out here? I didn't think you even remember where I live, Buddy Lee said. The last time I was in Red Hill was rather memorable, Christine said. Derek ran away from the house and I hitchhiked all the way to I-64 to here. If I'm correct, I think your husband threatened to put me so far down in the cell I'd have to get on the step ladder to kiss the devil's ass, Buddy Lee said. That was right after you headbutted him, Buddy Lee. He has a big head. It's an easy target. Anyway, I didn't like the way he was putting his hands on Derek, or how you didn't say anything about it, Buddy Lee said. Whatever magic spell had been cast between them broke so cleanly, Buddy Lee thought he could see the fractures in the air between them. I need to go, Christine said. You never answered the question. I suppose I wanted you to convince me I wasn't a bad mother as I thought I was, Christine said. She opened the door, and Buddy Lee could hear the crickets singing to their loves in the distance. Christine paused in the doorway. You really think you're going to find out who did this, Christine asked. Buddy Lee stared up at her. He didn't see the high society icon of the upper crust establishment of Virginia. He saw that girl with the cornflower blue eyes he'd first met in that field party so long ago. I'm deciding I'm dedicating the rest of my shitty life to it, Buddy Lee said. That sounds like something you would say, Christine said. She stepped out into the night and closed the door behind her. Buddy Lee began to sing. As soon they'll carry him away, he stopped loving her today. Buddy Lee's voice cracked as he sang old George Jones classic. He sang it low and soft, but the words still felt sharp and full of spikes. Chapter 27. I need a drink. Boop, 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 doop, where we at? Chapter 27. I got up at 7 on Monday morning. The house was quieter than usual. Maya and Ariana were staying with Maya's sister for the time being. He grabbed his phone and called Jazzy. Hello? Jazz, it's me. Yeah. The sleepiness in her voice evaporated. Hey, what's up? I was wondering where you coming in today. We can get the guys and hit some of the jobs we called off Friday and Saturday, Ike said. The phone line was silent. Jazz, I don't know if I'm ready to come back, she said. That's cool. I'll just go in and get the guys out on some of the small jobs. And when you're ready, I don't know if I'm ever going to be ready to come back, Jazzy said. Ike put the phone against his forehead. Ike, you hear me? Jazzy asked. Ike put the phone back to his ear. Yeah, I hear you, Jazz. I love working for you, but it's like Marcus says. Who knows when those guys might show up again, Jazzy said. I get it, Jazz. I'm sorry I put you through that. I'll send Marcus by tomorrow to get my stuff from my desk, if that's okay, Jazzy said. All right, Ike said. Are you mad? Jazzy asked. What? No, I understand, Jazz. I should have never brought that shit to our door. What do you mean you brought it to our door? What's going on, Ike? Jazzy asked. Nothing you have to worry about, Jazzy, Ike said. It came out with a harshness he didn't intend. I mean, it's nothing to get concerned about. It's all good. Jazzy didn't speak for what seemed like minutes. Whatever's going on, don't let it tear down everything you've built. You're better than that. You're better than those funky-ass bikers, Jazzy said. He heard the hitch in her speech, and he figured she was a few seconds from crying. I won't, Jazz. You tell Marcus he better treat you right or I'm coming to see him, Ike said. Oh, boss, he's fine. I guess I better get up. I need to look for a new job, Jazzy said. Ike chewed at his bottom lip. Jazzy had been with him since she graduated from high school 5 years ago. He had not only come to depend on her, but he had grown to like her. If he squinted real hard and prayed to God, Allah, and Krishna, he could sometimes do the books on the computer. Jazzy knew the systems backwards and forward. It would take him time to train a new person on the computer. It would take even longer to train them to be compatible with his particular circadian rhythms. Hey, if you ever change your mind, the door is always open, Ike said. A lump was doing its best to form in his throat. I hear you. Hey, Ike, be careful, okay? I'm as careful as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, Ike said. I think that's the first joke I've ever heard you tell. Well, the first funny one, that is. I guess I better go, Jazzy said. Okay, bye. Bye, Jazzy said. She ended the call. Ike tapped his phone against his forehead. Jazzy wasn't exactly like a daughter to Ike, but she was damn close. God damn it, he said. He got up and put on a pot of coffee. He didn't even feel like going to the shop now. He'd just take another personal day and go in early tomorrow since he'd been writing up all the work orders and working accounts payable and receivers. An hour later, as he was on his third cup of coffee, there was a knock at the door. Ike put his cup down and went to the closet in the hallway that led to the stairs. He grabbed a piece of rhubarb that he'd hidden in there the other night from his run-in with the Caprice. The 14-inch piece of iron was only an inch round, but it was as heavy as a hammer. Ike went to the door and peered through the diamond-shaped window. Oh, hell, he said. He opened the door, and Buddy Lee stepped in the house with a Hardee's bag. Glad I caught you before you went to work. I brought biscuits, he said. You should call first, Ike said. Buddy Lee gave the rebar a quick once-over. Damn, you must really hate Jehovah's Witnesses. Buddy Lee said. Ike thought he must be getting used to Buddy Lee's attempts at humor. He didn't even roll his eyes this time. That was a great, that was a great joke. Had some visitors Saturday, Ike said. Buddy Lee stopped in his tracks as Ike closed the door. Breed? Yeah. 2 guys in a big yellow banana boat followed mine home, Ike said. Did they see you? Buddy Lee asked. Yeah. I busted out their window with a bush axe, Ike said. Buddy Lee slumped against the wall as Ike shut the door. Didn't you tell me you pulled a machete on them the other day? Buddy Lee said. Yeah. Buddy Lee pushed off the wall and went into the kitchen. He sat down at the table and Ike joined him. You got a thing for sharp objects, huh? Jesus, I'm surprised this house still standing, Buddy Lee said. He pulled one of the biscuits out of the bag and put it on the table in front of Ike. Ike grabbed it and took a bite. He even spoke as he chewed. I sent Maya and the girl to stay with her sister for a while until this is over, he said. That's good. That little girl don't need to be mixed up in none of this. How did your wife take it? Leaving her house and all, Buddy Lee said. She won't say it, but I think she wants us to make it right, whatever that means. You know, seeing them at the shop was one thing. Seeing them at my fucking house was another. It ain't like it wasn't real before that. I guess it was like if anything went down, it was on me. But seeing them on my road, Ike let the sentence fade away. You got something else to lose, Buddy Lee said. Yeah. If you want out, I get it. I ain't gonna think less of you, Buddy Lee said. Ike shook his head. We in too deep now, homie. The only way out is through. That's the facts. They riding by your house, bro. You can't be like, I give up now. Buddy Lee chuckled. My mama used to say that. That's the truth. I used to hear my granddaddy say it. Him and my grandma raised me. At least they tried to. I gave them some early gray hairs, Ike said. My mama told me when she was pregnant, she prayed for a boy. Then once I was born, she prayed for discernment, Buddy Lee said, with a rueful smile. Ike thought there was a lot of hurt behind that smile, but he wasn't the one to pull it out of Buddy Lee. Say, you think we're going to need more than that piece of rhubarb around here? Because my half-brother Chet can get us some pieces. Ike frowned. I can get a gun if I need to. This is Virginia. They damn near sell them at 7-Eleven. Hey, Ike, no offense, but the rare breed ain't no social club. You're going to need more than that farm tool if they decide to come back and light this house up, Buddy Lee said. Do you get commission or something? Ike asked. All right. It was just a suggestion. I guess the next time they come by, you can throw a pitchfork at them. Anyway, how we going to get this producer fella? That's hilarious. That's the truth. Think about it. If he's as big time as you say, I don't reckon we can walk up to his front door, Buddy Lee said. I Googled him last night. Can't find his address nowhere. Looked up articles in the newspaper website. It just says he resides in the Richmond metro area. Shit, Buddy Lee said. Yeah, Ike said. Buddy Lee tapped his foot. The sound reverberated across the kitchen. Wait a minute. Didn't you say that boy at the cake shop, they had done a job for the producer? Ike asked. Yeah, I'm figuring that's where Derek met Tangerine, Buddy Lee said. Okay, so they would have the address, right? Ike asked. Yeah, but they ain't gonna hand it over to us. We went there breaking cakes and shit. Buddy Lee said. That's all on you, Ike said. Buddy Lee snickered. Whatever, point being, we ain't high on that list of friends these days, Buddy Lee said. We don't have to be. I got an idea, Ike said. He pulled out a cell phone and called the Central Events Bakery. The phone only rang twice before a pleasant-sounding woman answered. Essential Events Bakery, Carrie speaking. How may I make your day wonderful, she said. Ike deepened his voice and stretched out his enunciation. Ma called it talking rich white people voice. He used it when he had to arrange a bid on a huge, ostentatious estate or a condominium down by the river. Hello, I'm Jason Kruger, and I'm an associate of Tariq Matthews. You may know him as Mr. Get Down. Well, a few months ago, your firm handled a party for us at Matthews' home, and he was so impressed he'd like to hire you again for an upcoming event. However, he is very pressed for time, and he would like to discuss the menu with one of your associates today, if at all possible, Ike said. Buddy Lee covered his mouth and forearm and stifled a laugh. Oh my, today? We're really swamped. Could we possibly do tomorrow? I'd be more than willing to drive out there myself, Carrie said. Ike took a deep breath and let out a long, hopefully frustrated sounding sigh. Tomorrow's fine, I suppose. Could you make it around 1? And do you still have the address? Ike said. I could hear the hollow sound of plastic keys clicking. Yes, we do, Carrie said. Could you read it back to me, please? I want to make sure you have it correct. Ike said, of course. 2359 Lafayette Lane, Richmond, Virginia, correct? Carrie asked. You got it, Ike said. He hit in. That was almost too easy, Buddy Lee said. The hard part comes next. Trying to get him, Ike said. What's our play if this don't work? Buddy Lee asked. Okay. I got another idea, but it's some DEFCON 5 type shit. Let's try this first, Ike said. 10 minutes later, they were in Buddy Lee's truck heading down the highway. Chapter 28. Yeah, I do want to read it. Boo, 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 boo. Oh, it's a long chapter, too. We getting in. Do-do-do. Buddy Lee turned down Lafayette Lane and eased to a stop. There was a guardhouse in the middle of a 2-lane driveway that led to a larger subdivision. Actually, subdivision was a bit of a misnomer. Buddy Lee could see beyond the guardhouse, and there were only 6 houses visible. Each one had a back and front yard the size of a half of a football field. Flying buttress, Ike said. What? Buddy Lee said. The third house on the left, the big-ass one, it's got a flying buttress. What the fuck is a flying buttress? Buddy Lee said. Don't worry about it. Here comes the guard, Ike said. A large, burly black man was shuffling towards the truck with a clipboard in one hand and a walkie-talkie in the other. Ike thought one of the worst things you could give a man was a clipboard. I feel you. I feel you. He'd been, that must be why I never carried him. He'd been at the mercy of men with clipboards. They could keep you out of gated community, or they can put you on a bus to prison. Give a man a clipboard and watch his true nature come out. The guard knocked on Buddy Lee's window. Buddy Lee cranked it down. Hello, sir. Who are you here to see today? The guard said. Buddy Lee gave him his best good old boy smile. Yes, sir. We're here to talk to Mr. Matthews. We are here to pick up some furniture that he's donating to the DAV. Buddy Lee said. What's your name, sir? Buddy Lee Jenkins. The guard checked his clipboard. I'm sorry. I don't see that name listed here, the guard said. Call him. Tell him we want to talk to him about Tangerine, and we ain't leaving until we do, Ike said. The guard parted his lips, then thought better of it. Instead, he spoke to his walkie-talkie. After some static ting back and forth, The guard pointed to the third house on the right. Mr. Matthews says, "Come on down," the guard says. Ike spied the silver BMW in the rearview mirror, driven by a woman with the most severe "I want to speak to you, speak with the manager" haircut he'd ever seen. She zipped by them doing at least 30 miles per hour, like she had some Dalmatians in the trunk that needed to be made into a coat. "Thank you, Hoss," Buddy Lee said. As he drove past the guardhouse, the burly man waved. "I'm surprised that worked," Buddy Lee said. "Talking about Tangerine got his attention," Ike said. "Yeah, he bit on that one like a big mouth bass," Buddy Lee said. A cough racked in his body and forced him to lean on the steering wheel with his hand over his mouth. "Hey, you okay?" Ike asked. Buddy Lee nodded as he coughed again. He leaned back and rooted around for his drink holder for a napkin. He wiped his hand and then his mouth. Ike noticed Pincus spit him on the napkin. He could lie all he wanted, but Ike knew Buddy Lee was far from okay. "Got a quick smoking," Buddy Lee said. "I ain't noticed you smoking," Ike said. "Shit, maybe I should start," Buddy Lee said. They drove down the sinuous road that wound through the community. Ike noticed each of the home had a lower boundary wall made out of brick or exposed river stone and bifurcated by a black wrought iron gate. Each lawn was manicured within an inch of its life. Red maples were planted in the middle of the road at regular 20-foot intervals. Buddy Lee turned down the driveway of the third house and stopped at the gate. Ike heard an insectile buzzer sound, and the black gates opened like butterfly wings. They went through the gates. Ike felt like a trickle of ice water down his back as the gates closed. The sound of the lock engaging gave him flashbacks. Buddy Lee followed the exposed aggregated roadway until his truck was in the far right curve of the circular driveway. A chopped and dropped Mercedes-Benz SUV was parked at the bottom of a set of massive steps that led up to the front door of the mansion. Buddy Lee put the car in park and killed the engine. 4 walk-in appliances and black blazers came down the steps of the mansion with a flying buttress, accompanied by a short, dark-skinned brother with elaborately braided cornrows. He wore a bright, lime green tracksuit and a gold afro pick pendant on the long chain. Ike thought the chain weighed more than the man wearing it. Buddy Lee and Ike climbed out of the truck and stood side by side in the front of the gate. Ike thought they looked like they had been transported from a set of unimaginative rap video. "What? Pat him down," the brother in the cornrow said. Ike and Buddy Lee raised their arms. Getting frisked was an acceptable indignity if this got them closer to finding Tangerine. One of the behemoths patted them both down. He pulled Buddy Lee's knife out of his pocket. "That's for apple corn," Buddy Lee said. The man, who was obviously a part of Tyreek's security detail, held the knife up to his face. "This thing's a goddamn antique," he said, before pocketing it. "That knife belonged to my grandfather." "I'll thank you to put it back in my hand," Buddy Lee said. "You'll get it back before you leave," the bodyguard said. No one spoke for what felt like minutes. Ike decided to jump in the deep end. "Do you know a girl named Tangerine? We're trying to find her. She might know who killed our sons," Ike said. The man in the tracksuit, who Ike assumed was Tyreek, didn't seem to register his question. He pulled a small joint out of his pocket and stuck it in his mouth. The security guard closest to him lit it for him with a gold cigarette lighter. Tyreek took a long drag, held it, and let smoke flow out his nostrils. Buddy Lee jumped into the conversation. "We ain't here looking to jam her up. We just want to know what happened," Buddy Lee said. Tyreek still kept his cards close to his vest. "Look, somebody stood over my son and pumped 2 bullets in his head. I just want to find out who did it, and we think Tangerine can help." "Nothing." "Do you speak English?" Buddy Lee said. He didn't try to hide his frustration. Tyreek took another long puff on his joint. He plucked it from his lips and used it as a pointer as he talked. Here's the deal, Salt and Pepper. You gonna stop trying to find Tangerine. You gonna go back home and leave this the fuck alone. You gonna leave Tangy alone. This is the one time non-negotiable offer. You gonna accept the terms of this agreement, or I'm gonna have my fellas here fold you up, put you in an envelope, and mail you back to whatever the fuck you came from, Tyreek said. Buddy Lee caught Ike's eye. Ike stared back. After a few seconds, he turned his attention back to Tyreek. I told you we don't want to hurt her. We just want to talk, Ike said. He pronounced each word with a measured caution. The 4 security guards had taken positions on his 11, 1, 5, and 8 o'clock. The air around them was charged like a thunderstorm was approaching. Tyreek was standing near the stone-carved front steps. You don't listen too well, do you, fam? Tyreek said. He made a shooting gesture with his joint. Well, shit, Buddy Lee whispered. The guards advanced on them. 2 for Buddy, 2 for Ike. The pair that locked on Ike came at him with short, precise movements. Their punches were specific and targeted and full of bad intention. Ike took a kidney shot from one of the bodyguards, a light-skinned brother with a flat top, which nearly made his legs buckle. Ike trapped the man's arm with his left and jammed his thumb into the man's Adam's apple. The light-skinned man stumbled backwards, grabbing his throat, just as his partner, a brother with a mini afro, clocked Ike on the side of his head with a fist roughly the size of a Smithfield hand. Ike tried to tuck his chin into his chest, but he still got the brunt of the blow. As he tried to steady himself, Mini Afro executed a spinning heel kick that should have violated the laws of physics for a man his size. It caught Ike in the solar plexus, and he felt the spasm rip through his midsection, like he'd been tased. He fell back against the truck. Lightskin had recovered somewhat and was advancing on him from the left. Acting purely on instinct, he honed in from hundreds of throws down inside and on the street. Ike grabbed the passenger door and opened it with deft fingers and slammed it on Lightskin. The bottom of the door caught him in the chin, and he immediately dropped to one knee like he was about to propose. Mini Afro caught Ike in the chin with a 2-piece combo. Black stars twinkled in front of Ike's eyes. Grunting, he launched himself at Mini Afro. They collided like a pair of mountain goats. Ike looked at the other man's leg with his own as he executed a triangle pirouette. They fell to the ground in twisted conflagration of arms and legs and fists. Lightskin was back to his feet, and this time he was holding a collapsible baton. Ike ended up on top of Minifro. Ike hit him with a right cross, then an elbow strike. Minifro's nose flattened against his face like a jellyfish. Blood flowed unfettered from his both nostrils and into his mouth. Ike doubled up on him. 2 fast, brutal punches that closed the man's left eye like a curtain. Then Ike's world exploded in a nuclear flash of white light and searing pain so intense he thought he was going to vomit. Lightskin reared back and struck him in the back with the baton again. Ike sloughed off Mini Afro like an old coat. Lightskin stepped on his partner's kneecap in the haste to get to Ike. Ike saw the big man bearing down on him with a long black baton. It resembled the ones favored by corrections officers in Coldwater. Ike was flat on his back. He could feel the heat from the asphalt through his t-shirt. The pain in his neck was like a pair of pliers pinching his second and third vertebrae. Lightskin was almost on top of him. Instead of kicking up at the man's face, which is what Lightskin was probably expecting, Ike kicked at the side of the man's knee with everything he had. He didn't hear the crack he was hoping for, but he did hear a pitiful baying howl. Lightskin fell against the side of the truck. The baton dropped from his hand as he tried to grab onto the truck to keep himself from falling on the ground. Ike got to his feet. One swift motion, he kicked Mini Afro in the kidney and then head-butted Lightskin above the eyes. The move hurt him almost as much as it did Lightskin, but it served its purpose. Lightskin slid down the quarter panel of Buddy Lee's truck. His face left a red streak on the rusted metal. Ike moved to help Buddy Lee, but stopped in his tracks when he saw the gun. Buddy Lee was getting his ass kicked. It wasn't a complete shock. In all honesty, the moment he saw the two monsters run at him with the grace of gazelles, he knew he was in for a beating. Men that big shouldn't be able to move that fast, and when they could, it meant they were well trained and skilled, which meant he was going to get his ass handed to him. Buddy Lee decided to go out swinging. It was the only way he knew. The first monster that approached him had a mustache so full it was like a cat had taken up residence on its upper lip. The other grizzly bear was so cocked-eyed, Buddy Lee figured he could see around the corner without turning his head. Let me find out that was a Debo. Buddy Lee went at them like a windmill on legs. He swung on Cockeye while he kicked at Cat Stash. He caught Cockeye just below the left eye. Buddy Lee felt his foot connect with Cat Stash on the right knee. He might as well have been throwing beans at a tank. Cockeye slammed him in the stomach and doubled him over. Cat Stash grabbed Buddy Lee's arm and made him stand upright. Cockeye started peppering him with lefts and rights like it was his new favorite hobby. Buddy Lee knew that he was going to be pissing blood for a week. Cockeye grabbed him by the chin and forced him to look at him. "You gonna learn today, old man," Cockeye said. "I'm a quick study, you son of a bitch," Buddy Lee thought. In an effort to moralize Buddy Lee, Cockeye had gotten within striking distance of Buddy Lee's right foot. Buddy Lee kicked that man as hard as he could, right in the nuts. Cockeye's leg slammed shut at the knees as he bent over and cupped his balls. The shock of seeing his partner fall to the ground unnerved Cat Stash to such an extent he released his grip on Buddy Lee's arm. Buddy Lee took the opportunity to ram the back of his head in the Cat Stash's mouth. He thought he could feel the man's lips flatten against his teeth. Buddy Lee spun around and gave Cat Stash a left hook right behind his right ear. The man fell against the hood of the truck. That was when he saw the gun. It was a huge semi-automatic and a shoulder rig that dangled against Cat Stash's right side. Buddy Lee had always had fast hands. His daddy taught him how to lift wallets and watches before he taught him how to ride a bike. All the bodyguards were probably packing, but they had taken Ike and Buddy Lee lightly. They saw a couple old geezers who were in need of an attitude adjustment. They probably figured they could handle the two of them without even wrinkling their coats. Everyone makes mistakes, Buddy Lee thought. He slipped his hand inside Cat Stash's blazer and relieved him of his gun. Buddy Lee spun on Cockeye and Tyreek and Cat Stash, who was now Red Stash because of all the blood coming out of his mouth. "Back your raggedy asses up," Buddy Lee said. He moved towards the driver's side of his truck while keeping his eyes on Tyreek and his private army. Ike moved towards the passenger side. He stood behind the open door, half in, half out the truck. Mini Afro was back up, and he had his gun in his hand, pointing at Buddy Lee. "Drop the fucking gun," Mini Afro yelled. "Suck my crooked red dick, Barry White. I ain't dropping shit." Buddy Lee said his chest was on fire, but he used every ounce of his will to put the pain aside. "We just wanted to talk," Ike said. Buddy Lee had moved all the way to the driver's side of the truck. Tyreek's guard gathered around their employer like a phalanx. He spoke from behind the safety of their broad shoulders, smiling. He took a long toke of his joint. Ike realized he was enjoying this. "Give it up, fam. You ain't about this life. Tangerine is off limits to you. Drop that gun, Gramps, before you really get hurt," Tyreek said. "Why don't you come from behind your boys and we'll see who's about that life and who's sucking on their mama's titty," Buddy Lee said. Tyreek's smile faltered. "I live in a real nice neighborhood with some real nice white people. You probably got about 2 minutes to get out of here before the cops show up. They look for us high-rolling taxpayers," Tyreek said. "You talk to Tangerine. You tell her we need to talk to her. Our boys tried to help her, and they got killed. She owes us that," Ike said. Toss him my knife," Buddy Lee said. Cockeyed, who had taken the knife off, Buddy Lee blanched. "Put the gun down and I'll give you a knife," he said. Buddy Lee aimed for his forehead. "I know your boy got a bead on me, but Hear me when I tell you this. There'll be two of us dead if you don't hand over that knife, Butterly said. There was the flatness to his voice that Ike had never heard. He realized Butterly was fully prepared to die over that jackknife. The bodyguard must have realized it too, because he pulled it out of his pocket and tossed it to Ike. Ike, in turn, threw it on the seat. I'm keeping your gun, Butterly said. They both climbed in the truck. Butterly fired it up and mashed the pedal to the floor. The security guard missed getting run over by a frog's hair. All right, family. We'll wrap up there. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope to see you on Tuesday, where we will continue our discussion of identity. I think we just did traits, so we're going to start talking about we might do a trait map. And we're going to start talking about the role that memory plays in identity. So I appreciate you for your time. Appreciate you for your energy. And family, I'll see you next week. Peace.